Winston.
Nick Stoller.
First of all, congratulations on the show. It's awesome. I stayed up way too late last night binging it.
Oh, awesome.
And I can't wait till this is over so I can finish watching it.
That's awesome.
Was
This
there-
interview, you mean?
This whole weekend when I finally have some time to myself again. Was there a process for choosing the books for you guys, and were there some books that you were hoping you could maybe fit into the arc this time around that maybe you're holding on to for next time?
Yes and yes. I'll dive in. So, you know, we're very hopeful for more seasons, obviously. And if there are, there's so many books. So by design, the show is able to keep going and keep mining all the different books. And then as far as this season, I think, you know, once we crack the big idea of making it serialized and following 5 teens and almost the first 5 episodes being origin stories for our 5 characters, and where we wanted to go with it, then we started mapping what we thought were the best books to those characters, and then, you know, without making them too similar, we like jumping different subgenres of horror as well.
Yeah, I mean, one of the books that kept that we tried to get in, but it fell out was the Girl Who Cried Monster.
Yeah.
Like that was like a really fun one that just seemed like the idea of a teacher turning into monsters is very scary.
Yeah.
And that kind of came in, and then we realized it didn't fit.
It got too stalkery.
Yeah, and it just didn't fit into the overall.
Work,
It became repetitive with what happened to the Justin Long character, and so, you know. But I think there's so many stories in the Goosebumps canon that we'd love to you know get to do more.
Sure. So this is horror, you know, but it's kid-friendly horror. Can you talk about whether or not there are any guardrails, what that process is like if you have kids, if they had opinions about it? I have a child with very strong opinions.
It's weird how they have opinions, right? Like, just as a parent, you're like, really? You have an opinion about everything.
Your kids watch a lot of episodes.
My kids watch a lot of rough cuts and share their opinions. I don't know. I'm doing something wrong. Yes, sorry. It is. What was the. Before I do my bit. Horror for kids. Yeah, and I think, well, this show's aged up a bit. So the original series was really, you know, middle school, but we kind of found we wanted to increase the stakes. We wanted to go deeper. We wanted to have more of a coming of age type of thing, of going into adulthood. And also, there's fans who grew up on the books who are still, you know, fans of the books in their 30s and 40s that we want to speak to. And so it's just a bigger audience now, and this just felt like the right place to put it all.
Yeah.
And there's also, you know, there's really nothing scarier than high school, you know? So, like, no matter what we told, no monster is scarier than, like, your kind of everyday life. And so this really is kind of like a safe, scary show where nothing is, you know, so, you know, gory or graphic that when the episode ends, it's going to stay with you. It's just really a fun ride, and when it's over, it's over. And so I think that's why it makes it, you know, good viewing, where you can really enjoy the complex, you know, deeper stuff with, like, the parent story, and maybe the kids don't enjoy that part, but they like the scary stuff. But when it's over, it's over, and I think that's.
And Disney told us to we were like, how careful should we be? And they were like, just go for it. We'll tell you when you've gone too far.
That is true.
Yeah, and so we, you know, and it was pretty like, and I, you know, we were saying that, like, the thing that's always scariest is the thing you don't see, you know, and it's once you see the monster, it's never as scary as the noises and, you know, whatever, the, you know, lights turning on and off. Oh, that's much scarier. Like the poltergeist, the, like, chairs. That chair moment, the stacked chairs is the scariest moment ever.
Yeah,
it's like absolutely terrifying. It's just a stack of chairs. Like, it's literally like, you know. So
But it doesn't keep you up at night, so that's a good
yeah,
thing.
that's true. That's true.
Hi, Gotham Geeker. I actually got to chat with you too the other day. Good to see you. So we got to talk a little bit about how you kind of changed, I guess, from the Jack Black movie, like the tone's a little bit more serious with this one. How did you kind of go about coming up with concepts to make it a little more like we were talking about, like good for adults and fun for children at the same time?
Well, I think, you know, the movie, which was amazing, by the way.
Good job, Rob.
Yeah, thank you. that's a meta concept about Goosebumps. I think when we started talking about the series, we wanted to really embrace the books in a deeper way. It's serialized. It's not an anthology series, but we wanted to follow characters living with these stories and totems a bit more, and the books really lend themselves to that. They're very cinematic, the books. So that was kind of the big idea.
Our tone is pretty earnest, it's not a very there's certainly Easter eggs throughout, and there's, we're using the stories, but it's an earnest tone. It's not, and we're trying to be funny, we're trying to do other stuff, but we're not, it's not a self-aware show. That isn't where the comedy's coming from,
And we want to do something fresh, there's a lot of stuff that on Goosebumps, but we want to be different. So just a grounded, gritty, realistic vibe felt like the right way to go.
Yeah, like even if you look at, the movie, the old series, next to the pilot of this episode that Rob directed, the series that Rob directed, you just visually, it's so different, and it just telegraphs that we're kind of in a different Goosebumps.
There's also, I think like some of the movies we grew up with too, like if you think about the Lost Boys, that's like about like kids. It's the best, and it like veers between being like just this brother story that's kind of fun and and a very scary dark.
We talked
story.
about that a lot for
Lost Boys
tone.
a lot,
It was just like that's such a perfect example of that kind of.
And I was like, they should also be dressed exactly the same. And you're like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
And the guy with the saxophone without a shirt on at the beginning, we talked about a lot.
And
he was oiled down.
He was oiled down, and I was like, we got to get that.
We did a
oiled down
deep
guy.
dive.
And you were like,
on that.
no, I don't think that's appropriate.
But the ponytail.
And I was like, guys, we need to get back to the script.
You time for one more question. The benefit. Okay. Oh, you.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Is there, if knock on wood, there is a new series or maybe a movie spin-off, would R.L. Stine be maybe doing like a cameo, or maybe playing himself, or maybe Jack Black again playing R.L. Stine?
All great ideas. All great ideas.
I was gonna say Conor.
No, it's amazing. I don't. It'd be nice just to be able to do a season 2. I don't know, keeping it pretty humble here. But yeah, it would be awesome for this thing to take off and continue. It is an amazing sandbox to play in, the Goosebumps.
Even for spin-offs, like you're saying, there's so many things, like even within the Goosebumps book world, there are spin-off book series, Slappy World and stuff. It would just be really fun to see like all the places that this
Goosebumps anime. Come on, guys, we're at Comic-Con. How are you? You should have pitched that.
And you had a question too. I feel like we have enough time for him to have his question.
Well, one of the benefits of television as a medium is the opportunity to grow with these characters. How did the cast and their performances shape the narrative, particularly in the later half of the season?
You asked me? Okay. Well, first of all, we got so lucky with the cast. They're so good. The performances are incredible. It elevates everything that we did on the page. And we got to know them early on, and they got to know each other, and we kind of, that friendship on screen is what was happening off screen and evolving kind of simultaneous with the episodes. So it's really interesting for us to watch the episodes because we're recognizing, oh yeah, they started to become really close at that point, and so I think that influenced the writing quite a bit. And we always try to lean into the actors and what they bring to it, and hear their ideas and
observe wherever their chemistry,
whatever their chemistry is, and just kind of right towards it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.